So in module one, I said I would go deeper into the player's identifier, like when you're choosing which player to select, the command to like which player will the command affect in the game. And I said that we would do that in the next module, and I forgot to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. Um, we know from the first module that at S is yourself, and at A is all players, at P is closest player, at R is random player, at E is all entities. So let's start with at S yourself. So when you go into a command and you're trying to find the spot to put these things, you have this area. It'll show up like this. It'll have these two signs on either side of it. And that just shows that you put it there. You do not have to write these signs in the command. You don't want that. So I could do at s. But if I have at s in a command block, that means that that command block will do nothing pretty much, because at s, unless it's an execute command, but because execute's a little different, if it is directly in a command block, like a give command, and it's set in a command block and set to at s, that means that it will not give any items to anyone because it's giving it to itself. So at s does not mean you as like it doesn't mean you as a player. It means whoever the command is being run at from, that is at s. At a is all players, so this is different. So if you had the command with at a, the give command with at a, that means all players would get the item that you were giving it to them, and not just the command block. And the command block can't get items anyway. Now the closest player. So this is a little different. So if you did this in command block, this will work in a command block because it's where the command block is and the closest player to that. So it's still doing the player. It won't affect any like entities like monsters and mobs, but it will affect the closest player. So let's say this command is helpful when you're trying to choose choose someone to start the game, or trigger when someone's close enough to start the game, is you can, whoever the closest player is starting the game now. Um, at R is random player. So this is fun because you can you can pick teams, and how I use this is I do add R. Let's say normally tag command I use. So randomly. Oh, there. Tag add R player. This might be different. I might have it wrong. This might be here, but I'm pretty sure this is correct. And this is what the player will be tagged. If I wanted to do two words like player one like that, I would have to add that just to make sure. But I'm just going to go with player. And then with the random tag, if I wanted to tag someone else, player two, but I didn't want the same person who had player one tag to also have player two tag. And so I'll do random and then add this. So if this is the point of execute commands, because we'll go deeper into this. This is probably going to look pretty confusing now, but when we go into further modules, you'll figure this out. So if I do that and add the execute command, So what this does is it executes the command as all players at add s. So as all players, so all players is the group, and then it's saying each individual player this happens to. So unless, and then this unless entity add s tag equals player one, this means that unless each player has tag player one, it will not run the tag command. But if they don't have it, it can tag a random player. It's a random player that doesn't have player one, player two. That's really confusing, but when we get further into more modules, you'll find out execute command it expands your coding world so much further, and you can do way more things with that. But it is a really confusing command, and you have to know most of the other commands before we can learn it. At E is all entities. So all entities are like mobs, monsters, players, and some things like armor stands and boats are counted as entities. Mainly anything if you see a shadow is an entity. And that means sometimes I've made worlds where the armor stand, if you name it with a name tag, it travels around and like mines stuff for you. It mines staircases down, it cuts wood, like that type of thing, or grows plants. So if you know all of these, especially this one, you can do a lot more. And also another thing that you can do with the at E is at E, if your world is broken, you can do kill at E, so kill at E, which will kill all entities. But if you're in creative, which that's how you should be, because then you won't be killed. You can use as long as you're not in survival or adventure and you're in creative, it will not kill you, but it will kill everything else. So sometimes when I'm running summon commands, I overload the game and it's starting to lag, and I can run a kill command with a setup command block, because just in case a problem goes wrong. But also, if you wanted to only affect a certain monster or entity or mob or anything, you could do type equals, let's do armor stand. So this means that only armor stands will be affected by the command. Or you can do something like family. Like this, at E family monsters, so all entities that have the family monsters. It might be monster or monsters, I'm not sure, but it should tell you if the command is correct when you enter it into chat. It'll give you an error if it's not right, and that might be a problem. But this should be correct. And anyway, so you can have certain entities, specific type of entity, or a family of entities like mobs. So a little way to look at it is add s, this white empty space is how many people and entities are not being affected. So this black line represents the one person being affected by the command. At R is the same size, just one black line. At P is a little different because as it's a little bolder and a little bigger range, because even though it only can affect one person, if someone else moves closer, they will be affected too. At A is a completely filled in one because it's got all the players. But if we look at E, it's got a much bigger range because it's all the entities. That is a lot bigger than at A. But yeah, that's pretty much how to use, or what the players, like what identifiers you can use to identify which player or entity you want to be affected. Shows you how many players are being avoided, and this shows you that @E is can be used very widely, or it can also, if you only want it to affect one type, it can be made a lot smaller, because since it's able to be manipulated, you can make it a lot smaller with only a range of a few things like @E, type, #, and now the range is really cut down. But yep,